Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you guys are staying strong and safe during this coronavirus epidemic. During this time, Farmers was nice enough to put out a promotion, a 3-month promotion for personal lines called Double Down Promotion. And Christian Slayton, she's actually the administrator of a great group, private group on Farmers Top Shelf. It's a private group on Facebook. Asked me and Zach Breneman. He's an incredible agent in Indianapolis. He really breaks down his process in this video. So asked us to really go over what our plans are for this promotion. So we made a video and a Zoom meeting, and this is what we came up with. So please check it out and let us know what you guys think in the comments. Any feedback or questions would be very welcome. So thanks again for checking it out. Here we go.
Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm super excited to give you a little background of how this all came to be. Friday night after, I don't know, in the evening, I started looking at my numbers for new business for June, July, and August, which is how it reports in the folio. And I started feeling a little bit overwhelmed just because of everything that was going on. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I sent a Facebook Messenger to Dan and Zach and said, I asked them some questions, blah, 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 and then asked them if they'd be willing to share that with all of us. They said yes. So here we are, and I'm excited to basically hand the mic over to them so that they can kind of walk through their process of how they get all their new business and share some ideas with us on what they're doing right now and what they plan to do to beat their numbers from last year in the new Double Down with Personal Lines promo. So, Zach, will you tell our top shelfers a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how big you guys are, etc.?
Yeah, I'm happy to, Christian. Well, thanks again for inviting me. And as I said, I think I'm just as excited to hear what Dan has to say as he is as excited to hear what I have to say. So I hope everybody on the call is staying safe. I know it's a scary time. Not only in our agencies, but more importantly, when we leave our agencies or out in our communities. So everybody hang in there, things will get better. I'm originally from Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. Now I'm located in Indianapolis, and that's where my agency is. I started out in 2007 as a scratch agent, and we built our agency up now to about 8,700 PIF. I currently have 7 staff, which is a combination of CSRs and also producers.
Awesome. And wait, so that's 2000. Wow, you're 8,800 in 12 years?
In 12 years, that's correct. We started out in October of 2007.
Wow, damn, that's awesome. And Dan, tell us about you.
Well, yeah, a lot of similarities with me and Zach. I started in 2007 as well in August, and I have 8,701 policies.
Ah,
I'm just kidding. No, but it's really right. It's right around there. It's like a high 8,000. So it is a lot crazy. And I think we talked about this before between me and you, Zach. That yeah, similar size agency. Staff is about the same too. Licensed staff of 7 or 8, and then a couple that are not licensed. So hopefully they're gonna get their license soon.
You guys, that's freaking, you make me feel like a loser. That's awesome. Great, great, great job. What's interesting to me, what blew my mind, Dan, when I was asking you guys, because I knew I've had plenty of conversations with Zach, and I don't know you as well yet, Dan, but I knew that you generated a lot of new business, and I was excited to get to hang out with you at PC this year, but I mean, another time. But when I was looking at your numbers and Zach sent his numbers over, and I was like, geez, and then I ask you, and you send us that little snapshot thing, and I was like, oh my gosh. So then I called one of my producers in and said, hey, look, this is the guy that I get to talk to coming up, blah, blah, blah. Here's his numbers. And he was like, year to date?
Right? Dan, you're
like,
killing it.
Oh my God, no. Yeah, your numbers are awesome. So I'm excited for you guys to share with us your process, like where your new business is coming from. And kind of like, I want you to dumb it down for me. Like, easy, simple, 1, 2, 3, step by step. But I know we don't have all day. So just highlight on like the most important things that you think will get the most value out of, and that will help us grow. So let's start with you, Zach.
Yeah. So as far as like where our new business is coming from, obviously it kind of starts at quoting, right? In order to sell a policy, in order to get paid, in order to generate that, that commission, you've got to be quoting. So our office, we average anywhere from about 5,500 to our goal this year is 6,000 quotes a year. So now,
how many is that a month? Like, is it a quote requirement?
Yeah, so I work with my territory office. They help me out with this. So basically at the start of each year, we look back to see where we were at the year before, and then where our new business is at, and then where we want to go for the next year. And so what we do is they put like a monthly quote tracker, not only on myself, but then also on my producers as well. And so every 2 weeks we get biweekly quoting trackers so they can hold myself accountable and then also hold them accountable. Obviously, with that much activity and with as big as we have gotten, it's very easy for us to take a look at that tracker and see where we're at and see where we need to improve. Where we're getting a lot of these quotes is going to be from mortgage brokers and realtors is probably the biggest thing for us. We work with about 150 realtors. We're not the preferred provider for every one of those realtors, but we've built that relationship over the last 10 years. We work with about 60 mortgage brokers as well. So the majority of our business is coming directly through mortgage companies and real estate offices. Before we had those relationships, and I would say even better yet, before we had the Smart Plan Home, because the Smart Plan Home was a game changer for us. And I assume everybody on this call would probably agree that is our most competitive product. But before we were doing that, we were working a lot with our internal book. So we would run reports on our home no auto, our auto no home, our life only clients. That's one thing that we're doing right now is we're revisiting a lot of those current clients, making sure that them and their families are doing okay, and then also looking for other opportunities of business to lower their current rate and then hopefully help them get a better rate on their existing policy.
When you say your mortgage brokers are your biggest source, so do you have time allocated like weekly where you're going out and visiting these brokers? And who does that? Is it you or your APs?
That's actually one of the things I love doing. So we do a lot of lunch and learns, and that's what I would recommend if you've never done a lunch and learn. Try to get in with the person that runs the office, maybe the manager, or maybe someone that's a mortgage broker you work with now. And let them know that, hey, I'd really like to get a chance to come in and bring your staff and some of your other fellow, mortgage brokers lunch. Do you think, you think your boss or your, the owner of the mortgage company would be willing to let me come in? And if they do, that's an easy way for you to give back to them. Bring lunch, have them order Grubhub, whatever you want to do. We've done pizzas. I mean, you can make it as simple as possible. It doesn't have to break the bank. And then hopefully they will give you 15 minutes to get in front of their entire team to let them know what you bring to the table and what you can help offer their clients. The lunch and learns have been huge. We do those with real estate offices and mortgage brokers.
I do that with realtors also, but that's something that you can get ad aid for too.
100%. So usually as long as you have pictures of you in front of the group and then kind of like an outline of what you talked about and then keep your receipts and all that, you can usually get 50% ad aid. And we've been taking advantage of that quite a bit.
That's awesome. So the majority of your leads are coming from your mortgage referrals.
Yeah, I would say that. We definitely get a lot out of the EverQuote program. So we've been doing a lot with EverQuote before they discounted it. Now that it's discounted, I mean, we've pretty much doubled down on everything that we're doing with EverQuote. EverQuote is a phenomenal program, I think, for the fact that, for as inexpensive as it is, you can get a very good name, very good phone number, a good email address. And we only focus on the leads that are homeowners. So on all the leads that we buy, we only buy the premium tier. So on an auto lead, that's going to be a client that owns a home or a condo. So then we also get to quote the multi-line there. Same thing.
How many are you buying?
We're buying anywhere from about 12 to 15 a day. And it just depends. I mean, sometimes if we have more time to allocate to that, we will. Right now, what we're found out with with a lot of people being home, a lot of these people that we had not been able to get on the phone are willing to take our phone call because, I mean, literally they have nothing else to do. And they're worried about their next check. So, we lead into that conversation with making sure that they're okay and letting them know that the only reason that we're contacting them is because we're going to try to help them save a little bit of money.
Okay. And do you have a certain amount, like, I'm just trying to picture the way that you run this in the agency. So if you're getting 12 to 15 leads per day, how do you allocate those? Are the CSRs quoting, just the APs quoting? Like, how does that work?
Well, if it's okay, I was going to just go step by step, try to make it as simple as possible of what we're doing when we get that lead and then where it goes from there.
Okay, awesome. Yes, that's what we want to hear.
Okay, so obviously we get that lead and, whether I'm going to work on it or whether I'm going to give it to one of my producers, we have the same process on every one of them. Since every one of these auto leads is a homeowner, or every one of the homeowner leads is obviously a homeowner, the first thing that we do is we send those to one of our CSRs or one of our interns, and we have them pull an assessor card. And basically what that's allowing myself or any of my APs to do is have all the details on the house that I need in order to run a quote. We want to make sure that we quote obviously in the husband's name, then in the wife's name, like I'm sure everybody on the call is doing, to figure out who's got the best rate. Then after that, we go directly into the auto quote. Okay. Once we're ready to sell that, my AP or me, myself, we would actually call that lead and present the quote over the phone. If we don't get that person over the phone, usually what we'll do is we'll leave a message. Hey, Christian, this is Zach with Farmers Insurance. I've got your quote pretty much finished up. It looks excellent. Before I give this to you, I'm going to go ahead and just leave you a voicemail, call me back. And after you call us back, we'll go ahead and send this over to you. We've had some luck with that. Here recently, we haven't been leaving a voicemail on that first call. We've basically just been calling the person, and then usually a couple hours later, we call them back. If we do not get that person on the phone, which sometimes happens, what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and send them a nice email. And everything that I'm talking about right now, because I know I'm talking fast, I'm going to share with Christian that she can put out on Facebook, is kind of a step-by-step process of what we do. But I think we all agree that the VIP quote, when you attach that to an email, is great, but it can be very confusing from the person that, might only have a high school degree, but also to the person that's, an engineer. They get very, very confused on that VIP. So the one thing that we've been doing is we actually have bullet points, whether that's on an EverQuote lead, whether that's a defector of somebody that we're trying to get back, an X date. We have bullet points that spell out that quote that we attach to make it simple and easy to read once they open up that quote. After we go ahead and email that quote, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste those bullet points in a text message through ZipWhip. So now we've hit them with 2 phone calls, an email, and then also a text through ZipWhip. So now you've had 3 points of contact where you can get that person on the phone. About 2013, we invested in color printers, and so every one of our quotes that we do, we actually mail out in color paper, and we actually put those bullet points on a cover page when we send that quote out to them in the mail.
Oh.
When we put that quote out to them in the mail, we actually put a blank envelope, no return address, and a red stamp on the envelope. That's key. That red stamp actually almost scares them into opening your quote, which is exactly what you want them to do. You want them to open that direct mail. I know direct mail works in Indiana. I don't know if it would work in Dan's market or a market like Las Vegas, where obviously people aren't opening a lot of their mail. Here in Indiana, it really works. But after we mail that quote out to them in mail, one of my CSRs will follow up on that lead 3 to 5 times to try to bring that lead back in. And that's just, not going, crazy, but, we're going to follow up with them, probably the day after to make sure that they got the quote. And then, probably 2 to 3 times to see if we can, bring that lead in.
Hey, Zach, quick question. Sorry, Christian, is it okay?
No, good.
What does the stamp say, Zach, on the red stamp?
It says important documents, please open.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so we got that made a few years ago. It's something that you can get made at, Office Depot, Staples, wherever you get your office supplies. But it's something we started doing because we noticed a lot of people were not opening the mail we sent them. So that's just another thing to try to make us different than all the direct mail that everybody's already getting. I know usually the only thing that I will open when I get mail is something that doesn't have a return envelope on it. Everything else I'm opening is just bills.
What about a CRM? Are you then loading that lead? Are you using Sims? What are you doing with it?
So I highly recommend MVP. I don't personally use MVP, but I've heard very, very good things from some other big agents that are using it. Our system is very old school, and it works, but it's paper heavy and it's definitely staff heavy. So after we send that quote out, we have CSRs actually following up on that lead 3 to 5 times to try to bring it back in. The one thing I did as a new agent, and I'm sure Dan could agree with me as well, I could write a book on things that didn't work. That's the easy. One thing that does work is following up on your quotes. So we make sure on any quote that we do, especially if it's an auto or home quote, we do not shred that quote sheet. That quote sheet is like gold. Yourself or your staff is giving you pretty much everything but your blood type on there. You want to save those, because if you don't get it this time, you need to go back after that every 6 months at their auto renewal. And we do that like clockwork.
So it sounds, what's your turnover like with your staff? Because this sounds hard. Like maybe like you got to keep your foot on the gas the entire time.
Our turnover is actually very good. As I said, you got to have a good team in place, but you also have to set job expectations. So before, they come to work for you, they know exactly, what they're doing and what you expect of them. Right now, we're having a very easier time getting a hold of people and getting people on the phone, because, they're at home, they can't go to work right now and they want to talk to people. But working, trying to manage staff, some working virtual and some working here in the office, that's a tough time we're dealing with now, because our whole process is kind of flipped upside down. So we're trying to learn and get better day by day with it. But when we're all here in the office, one of the 2 agencies, it usually works very well.
So you do have are you half and half?
Right now we're 50-50. We've got some people working from home. We have some people working from here in the office, and then we're just close to the public.
Mm-hmm.
What about you guys? Are you guys the same, or?
We're 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, from my office, as of right now, I'm checking the numbers, what the virus is doing in my local area, which is Orange County. It's not as alarming, so it's a difficult, choice I'm making. But for now, I have my staff here, but we're all ready to, work remotely if necessary. So I have everything all set up. But as of right now, I'm having people come into the office.
And Zach, how often, I didn't think about this until now, but I've never done the internet lead successfully. So I always jump in and I'll do it for like a month and I say, oh, these leads are bullshit. They're terrible. They're wrong numbers. 1 out of 10 is correct, but I know it's a numbers game. And right now, more than ever, I'm starting to realize, okay, I don't care. I have quote requirements set up in my office. Do you do that? Do you have quote requirements, or?
We do. And as I said, we hold our territory offices holding ourselves accountable to that. But for everybody on this conference call, you got to understand that internet leads is not everything we're doing. It's not everything that you should be doing. But if you want to invest in this, there's a system in place that I can share with you. I'm sure there's a system in place that Dan can share with you that does work. Right now, we're converting about 7% of these leads, so it does work.
7%?
7%.
That's awesome.
And so, thanks. And then, you got to understand too, right now, a lot of your clients have a lot of time on their hands. So if they have a lot of time on their hands, they're going to probably be shopping prices on the internet. They're going to be talking to Allstate. They're going to be talking to Geico, Progressive. You're going to lose some clients, but there's also a way to go gain some of those really, really good confident planners and some good clients that are auto and home. If you're quoting, if you're, doing more quotes now than you did before. One thing that, I realized right up front is we're going to have some people that are going to stop paying their car insurance. We're also going to have some people that are going to be shopping that usually don't shop. The only way that you can replace some of those good clients is keeping your quote activity up and implementing something new. So I would say if you're going to implement EverQuote, make sure you stick to it to 60 to 90 days. It's not a huge investment, especially with it 50-50 or with the leads discounted. But if you're going to commit to it, have a system in place. And I think the system that we use, it can work for a one-person staff. It can also work for a six-person agency as well. You just have to keep things simple, and you have to have a follow-up system on the back end, or it just won't work.
Do you guys have a certain way that you can pivot or convince someone to come with you now that they want to stick with State Farm and wait for their refund? You know, are you saying?
I saw that was a question today, Christian. That's a good question. I mean, you know, I think it's a tough sell, because obviously anybody that you've been with that hasn't done you wrong, that's going to put some money in your pocket, just like Farmers is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough, but I think, you know, letting them know what we're doing for our clients. I mean, 25% from what I've seen,
yeah,
pretty much the highest return out of any company out there. And just letting them know that, hey, you know, we're not only committing to this for the month of April, you know, based on what we've heard, if this, you know, these trends continue in the months of May and potentially June, we're going to be doing the same thing. So it's tough. I mean, you know, you're in a tough spot there. I don't think there's a way that anybody could sell somebody on that. I would start asking them important questions about how they've, you know, how their policies have been maintained with State Farm prior to that. Here in Indiana, we get a lot of wind and hail, and Allstate and State Farm are two of the hardest carriers to get your roof replaced. And, you know, we ask questions to our clients. You know, we ask them, try to get on their hot buttons. You know, have you been happy with State Farm? You know, have you had any claims issues? And then we try to stop and listen. And then they're going to probably start to talk and tell you some of the things that are important to them, but then also some of the things that they haven't been pleased with.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's awesome. I love the information you're sharing, and thank you for letting me share it with everyone. You know, when you sent me that email, my newest producer printed it out. He made a binder, and that's why I sent you a message right away. Okay, where do we get this? He wants the exact wording of your stamp.
Yeah.
But he made his binder, and he's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So awesome. I really thank you for sharing that, and I will share it with everyone on Top Shelf.
Yeah,
Dan, tell us about your system, and be as detailed as Zach if you can.
Okay, well, Zach did an awesome job, so it's
well, start with like where the majority of your business comes from.
Yeah, well, before I get started, actually, before I forget too, I just want to say, hey, thank you so much, Christian, for having me, because and what you do for the group is absolutely incredible. You know, it's such a good value to have. So what you're doing for the group and how you look out for them is something that I really admire. And maintaining a group that size too is not easy. So
thank you.
Really appreciate what you're doing for us, all of us agents. So yeah, you know, a lot of similarities with Zach again. Internet leads is a great one. I think internet leads, just touching based on what you guys were talking about with some of the challenges. I think it's really important to understand that with internet leads, it is a skill game. You know, some people are going to be better and some people are not going to be as good. It's just like a sport, you know, but with practice, you're going to get better. So sometimes people feel like, hey, is it the lead that's not working? Sometimes you have to look within yourself and say, hey, maybe it's me that's not working. You know, so I think internet leads is kind of the hard truth is that some people are just going to be better than others. You know, it's just going to be your voice. It's just going to be your persistency. It's just going to be, you know, what you're saying. So it's definitely a skill game. But the internet leads in this time and age is going to be a huge one, because especially with this promotion coming up, you could literally just click a few buttons and just get your quote volume up. You know, so it's something that's really scalable, which I like too. So the way, the way I grew my insurance agency from the beginning was internet leads. Back in 2007, from the very first day I bought internet leads. And I grew my agency that way. Within the last several years, I started moving a little bit more into social media. And that's also a good way too. And I'm really happy that I made, you know, these moves, because not that I knew this was going to happen, but, you know, people are more open to doing things over the phone. You know, people want to do things that's more convenient. They don't understand that necessarily you don't have to see your insurance agent anymore. So, and people are always on their phones, you know, so we really want to be where they are. Couple other things I do. What Zach does is, everything I do also, and I agree with everything he does. Couple other things I may want to add to that is I also want to keep emailing them. I think when it comes to phone calls, it's a little bit, especially where I live, it's not as acceptable anymore to just telemarket. It's just really annoying. People don't like receiving phone calls as much these days. Even if it's from like a friend, you're like, why are you calling me? Just text me. So email and text is a big part, and actually having that automated is really helpful because you could get a lead to a lead source or to social media. You get an email address. You really want to put that in the system and have it a drip campaign where they're always emailing you. And really, you're always emailing them or texting them, obviously giving them, options to opt out. But once you have a big pipeline of that, you really want to set your staff up in a situation. For me, I really look at my job as like, how can I get their phones ringing? I consider that my number one job, because if someone's calling you for a quote, it's just the best situation you could be in as an insurance agent. Someone calls you and say, hey, I want a quote, rather than you calling them, so that's why just constantly emailing them, just figuring out, okay, what's too much, what's not too much. But instead of phone calls, we're doing a lot of emails, and trying to get our phones ringing is what we're doing right now. And because of the situation, everyone's on their phones, people are getting emails, people are on social media. The volume of quoting has actually gone up during this time. So I think that is something for everybody to consider with this double down promotion. If you don't have any systems, but whatever system you have, I know Zach will agree with this, it's just, you're just going to have some money behind it. We can't expect to do things. So hopefully, we have some agents here that are listening that are in a financial position to be able to invest back into your agency, because the double down promotion, wow, up to 100%.
Let me interrupt you. I didn't even think about asking you that, Zach. I know how much I spend, and that's why I'm like, no, you guys are going to quote, and, it's just, if I'm going to invest that, I need everyone on board and just all in. But how much are you guys spending to generate the amount of business that you write on internet leads? I know marketing is totally different, but I spent, and I didn't work on like you told me to, Zach, but thinking of you bringing that up, Dan, I think I spent maybe it was $1,800 or $3,300 in a couple of months before this promo, and I only closed one.
Yikes.
But it was a quote one time and move on. That's what I did. What do you guys spend?
It's kind of tough because what we're spending now is so much less because of how inexpensive this is through the pilot. I'd have to kind of look back at what I was spending before, but I think that with these leads is, I think with our agency, we're basically just trying to break even. If we break even on these leads, we're going to get the policy up front. We're probably going to get some referrals off of a lot of those accounts too. That was the one thing I didn't touch on. I'm sure Dan gets a lot of referrals too. At the point of sale and after we sell, whether it's an EverQuote lead or any type of lead, we always ask for referrals. So I think with this lead program or any lead program you're doing, if you're going to invest in it, you need to make sure that you've got a system in place for it to work and break even, because you got to remember in 6 months to a year, you're going to get that renewal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also might get a cross sell, there's premium increases. So sometimes you're looking at an ROI where it's like, okay, I spent this much, I only got this much right now. Well, there's going to be future benefits with that sale, so I totally, in fact, I feel like I lose money when I get a sale, and what we're doing is really building our book of business for the long run, not just for this folio or what our ROI is for this month.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to budget, as much as I can. Right now it's over $18,000 a month from social media and internet leads. And I don't want any agents to really get discouraged because it didn't really start off that way. It's just as much as I could in the beginning, it's just making some personal sacrifices. Well, right now it's kind of easy to not spend as much money So, but the double down thing with the 100%, up to 100%, it really is a good time to spend the money you have towards your agency, towards your staff, have a bonus system. It really just is almost a necessity to grow a business. So, but the
Are
more
you doing a promo in your agency for that?
yeah, I am. Just a premium contest. Okay, so it's a bonus. So if they get to 10,000 premium, then it's $200. And some of my producers will get to, one of them will get to 50,000 in a month. So that's $1,000 and do that 3 months. So, that's going to get them excited. I'm projecting to probably pay about 12,000 out total if we keep the same numbers, but we're expecting to do better than that. But, again, these numbers are just, everyone's agency is in a different situation, but motivating your staff, I mean, there's a lot of different parts to it, but the financial incentive is definitely a big part of it. So
what's a quote requirement for your team members? And is it like, are they agency producers in your office, or
well, most
is
of them
everyone
are licensed.
sell and service? How does it work?
Well, 4 of them are really focused on sales. And then they've been with me 5+ years, all of them. So they're the ones that I would give them the best leads. So their duties are mostly sales. And then I have another 4 that are licensed, 4 or 5. They're licensed, but most of their work is customer service, but they're trying to cross-sell or get referrals. So they're doing the best they can as trying to, make some commission too. But really the way I have my agency set up is the ones that, the proven closers, the ones that's been with me the longest are the ones that, I guess you could say, get the most opportunity when it comes to, sales opportunity.
Right.
When it comes to requirements, I also don't really look at it as their quotas. I almost look at it like, okay, well, actually that's my job, because I feel like I should have accountability of how much quotes they're doing, because it just depends on how much money I'm spending, it's how many leads and how much action they generate. Because if you're not getting them many leads, and if you just say, hey, you got to get me 10 quotes, it's going to be very difficult.
Then what's the average?
Right now we're doing about 40 quotes a day.
Per person?
No, for the agency.
40 quotes a day for the agency. And you're writing that much business from that? That is awesome.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Hey, what do you, Dan, you had said you're putting a lot of money into social media. What all are you putting that money into?
Just promoting the business page.
Okay.
So just whether it be boosting a post, like Christian, you made a great video promoting this event, right? So something like that we'll do. We'll just get in front of the camera. Social media is a great, you did a great job. You do great with something like that because you promoted it. But something like that where just, in front of people. I think social media is a game changer as far as just people feel like they know you, even though they don't. Like
the connection is what we all desire, right?
And sales is a connection. Like Zach, I mean, we've only met one time at Farmers Open for like a short time, but we almost like knew each other, everything about each other. Like you drive an M5, you drive an M5, I drive an M4. You like going to sporting events. I like going to sporting events. You get better seats than me, but
nah, I don't know about that.
But social media is just a great way for people to get to know you without really knowing you. And then, hey, we have nothing to hide. We're just professional insurance, agents that are transparent, and we just like to help people with their insurance. So even without a budget, well, that's one of the things I did make a big emphasis on, hey, making sure you're spending enough money. But at this time right now, even through, just through hard work, I think everybody should be posting about work, not about, I mean, you should, but just letting people know that you're an insurance agent and being very active. We have, the farmers 25% off. That's something that we should be very proud of. The new commercial is great. I can't wait for that to come out. These are things that we should be letting, your natural network know about, because I tell you, I'm very proud to be a part of the Farmers family right now. And I think that's something that we could definitely communicate through social media.
So tell me about automation. You said that you have a drip system. Are you using a CRM? You're using Sims? How are you doing that?
I'm not sure if it's called a CRM. I said this at the national sales meeting, but I said when I open Sims by mistake, I just close out of it as fast as possible. I said that on stage and I got a few laughs, but I don't use Sims. What I do is MailChimp and Simple Text. And I use an automation software called Zapier. And basically when you get a lead, it puts it into MailChimp so you don't have to like manually put in the email address. And it's automation, you know, you can set it up the way you want it. You know, the first day, for the first 4 days, they'll get an email every day, and then it'll go to every other day, and then it'll go 3 days. And then in 6 months, it'll be like once a month. So it kind of like, you know, slows down after that. And then simple text is the same thing. You know, texting is more accepted now, I feel like, but you don't want to overdo it too because they'll opt out faster. But people are reading their text, that's for sure. I think that's a great strategy right now, but you want to be kind of careful a bit. But email, it's like, it's acceptable to spam people. Like, I think we should be just sending as much emails as possible as agency owners. It's just acceptable, and people won't really necessarily get an email and call you right away, but whenever they get a next car or whenever, just think of insurance, you just want to be the agency they think about, you know, at that time. So it's just a great way to get in front of people. And I do like automation too. That way you don't have to manually do a lot of things.
So you're not doing direct mail?
No direct mail, but just like Zach says, whenever we get a quote and we have all their information, it's totally worth the stamp and the paper to mail it out with the business card, with a nice looking business card. So once we have a lead or a quote done, then we always want to email it, obviously, and always mail it out too.
Okay. And Zach, I didn't think about asking you, but like, have you thought about it? Do you do promotions around the promotions Farmers does for us, for your team?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, obviously with the PGB, we've been sharing that ever since this came out. It's been a big push for our agency. We try to do promotions too on some of the stuff that we need help in, like some of the categories like life and commercial. We've got some big promotions that run year round for those too. And then, you know, every now and again, they'll have a statewide or a territory promotion that we try to include them in on as well. The one thing that, you know, we brought up about these leads and like having a system in place, but like X dates in general, you know, with these leads, I plan on X dating every one of these. So, you know, if we don't get them on the front end, we're going to get them on the back end.
Right.
And I had a funny story. I was talking to Sandy here in my office, and she does a lot of my follow-ups. And she was talking about being at the right place at the right time. There's literally this couple that we've been quoting and marketing to for like the last 2.5 years for their auto and home, and we've never got them. We sent them out. They had a renewal coming up May 15th, and we sent them out another quote, and we tried to contact them. We've always had a good relationship with them over the phone, but they said, hey, you know, I'm comfortable where I'm at. We're being at the right place at the right time. They were doing a refinance. And when they did a refinance, their lender actually said, you're paying way too much for insurance. We were the first ones that they called when that happened. So, you know, having that X date system and something on the back end will get you a lot of business that you didn't even expect.
Right. Yeah, that's super important. We pretty much cross-sell our existing book, and we do that. I think my agency's set up a little different, or I have set it up a little different than you guys when I'm trying to. This COVID shutdown has made me look at everything completely different, and I'm going to try and get really good at doing things over the phone. And I've always been a face-to-face person. I want everyone in the office, and I've always felt that we have a lot better life sales that way. However, I mean, and pushing me outside of my comfort zone, and my producer, who I graduated college with, we're both kind of that same mindset where we're like these two old people that don't want to change, that you got to change. And doing life, asking for life over the phone is like awkward, but we've been doing it and we've had success. I cannot believe we've had success. And I thought the only way you'd be successful doing that is with the simple terms, but no, we're able to accomplish it. I mean, we're so lucky that Farmers has given us the DocuSign, and, you know, we have to mail out documents that they have to actually sign, and mail back in, or we email them and they mail them in. But I mean, that's been successful for us. And are you guys taking advantage of trying to offer the life over the phone? Like, what's your system with that?
Yeah, life insurance, we don't have life insurance numbers historically as an agency to be proud of, but right now that's a hot topic for a lot of people's mind.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. So for us, it's a lot where we're writing about, we have 7 issued and paid already for this month. So we're getting a lot of experience, and hopefully we could learn a lot from this experience and write more.
But are you bringing people, like prior to COVID, is the majority of your business mostly over the phone, or do you have a percentage that you do in the office?
I would say it's mostly over the phone. I think you spoke on a little bit, Christian, but we've tried to adapt faster.
Yeah.
We kind of saw where the market is going, especially where I live. Maybe, if you want to go 10 miles, you have to sit in that traffic for 1 hour. So, it's just, people just prefer convenience and, speed. And it's kind of like not what we like to do, because we like to see them in person because our closing ratio is better, but we don't have the luxury. We kind of have to go with what they prefer. And that's kind of how the whole economy is working. It's like the customer has so much more power now because of all the information that's out there. So we've adapted, and especially with this situation, I think the world's not going to go backwards. It's going to be more and more this way. We'll probably be doing quotes, if people prefer, maybe through video conference. Who knows? Or maybe FaceTime through phones if they prefer. They may not. But it's just going to be more and more through digital communication. Everybody's on their phones. That's the way, it's just through social media. It's like, that's how you get to know people almost. Whether we like it or not, it's just the way the world's going. And the faster we adapt to it, I feel like there's more advantage to people that are adapting faster than the ones that are going to take some time to adjust.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, we've tried to make things a little bit more automated too, because we do sell a lot of homes. So we've actually created, right after we sell a homeowner policy, I've been, myself or my producers, we've been emailing back and forth with them, right? And so if we send them an email after the point of sale, usually within 72 hours, they're going to open it and they're going to read it. And so we've developed a really, really nice email talking to them about mortgage protection. And we take the value of whatever their reconstruction cost is on their home, and then we send the husband and wife basically kind of like an automated email that shows them how inexpensive it is to have a policy in place in the event something happens. And we also talk about the hot buttons and the things that we try to emphasize, that hey, the policy you have at work doesn't go with you when you change jobs or retire. I know both of you on this call, you guys have probably been talking to your clients about that, because a lot of people have been getting laid off.
Yeah.
And have lost their benefits at work. It's a really good time to bring that up. But we've just tried to make it more automated. So pretty much every person that we sell a homeowner policy to gets that email right after the point of sale, just while it's fresh in their mind.
Yeah, I think email is great, and especially a topic like life insurance. Some agents, the great agents have no issues bringing it up, and I really look up to them. But for some certain introverted client, agents, written communication is a great way to go. So mentioning life insurance and giving us some data or mortgage protection, like Zach is doing, that's exactly how we've got these life insurance clients. It's just through mass emails. They get emails. They know we do life insurance because we bring in value in the emails. We give them some information, but we also it's not too salesy, but we're just letting them know that we do it and we're here to help them. And that's a great way to communicate, is through written.
Do you guys have normal working hours? Like, I don't know, what are your working hours? Do you have evenings, weekends? I'm assuming by appointment, but what are the office hours you guys keep?
Our office throughout the week is like 8:30 to 5:30, and then evening and Saturdays by appointment. And usually on Saturdays, we will have somebody that has, there's the office phone forward to their cell. So if there's some leads that come through on the weekend, some of the producers might take those. Yeah,
ours is 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We're open every Saturday from 10 to 2. The way I have that done is I just stagger the shifts. So I have, 3 people doing 8 to 5, another 3 doing 4, 9 to 6, and then another shift that's a late shift that's 10 to 7. The 10 to 7 shift is actually a really good one. After people get off, well, maybe they're not working as much right now, but with traffic and everything, being available after 6 to 7, it's actually a great time to be available. So that has helped us out. And really, that's the shift that a lot of my staff doesn't really like, but I recruit with that staff. And right now, recruiting is actually something that we had a lot of issues with in the past, but not that, this is a great circumstances by any means, but, we've got to find some opportunities within this whole situation. I think one of the things that, as agency owners, the challenge with the job market, it was a huge challenge, but it's going to open up and we're going to be able to find some good, hardworking people who are in retail or restaurant. So that's definitely something that, it's kind of weird to say looking forward to, but, recruiting, but basically what I was trying to say is I recruit when someone's new, they have to start with the 10 to 7. And yeah, it's just, I think part of the equation, with internet leads and everything we do is just something that maybe we don't talk enough about is just work ethic.
So is your goal monthly a premium goal, or are you guys PIF goal? Like, what are you shooting for?
Definitely premium.
It's a premium?
Yeah, and that's how the staff is compensated too, and I hope that's the way agents have set it up, because you could write a bunch of renters policies and be happy about yourself, but
no, I agree.
So premium is just really the only way we measure anything at our agency.
Yeah, we do a combination of both. I mean, obviously premium is the name of the game, right? The higher the premium, the higher the commission, the higher the renewal. But if you have a PIF goal and you're not just selling a lot of renter policies, you're going to pretty much automatically get to some of those premium requirements too. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's whatever works in your agency. Like on our whiteboard, our staff board for like our producers, we do the bi-weekly quoting and hold them accountable for that. And then we also do the monthly sales tracker. So throughout the month, we have a whiteboard so they can see, where they're at compared to the other producers and then what we're doing overall as an agency. So we use both. So
do either of you have like something in your office that you do that constantly keeps your team motivated? Like, for example, I think it was probably maybe even 7 years ago, Debbie Curtis taught me about the deck of cards promo for cash that I give out to my team. And every time they cross-sell a new line of business, they always get to come and draw. And every single promo I've ever done, now I'm going to do a double down promo. Those are like bigger ones, but anything that has ever kept them more engaged, that deck of cards promo, I mean, it's like they're waiting. They cannot wait to come and draw. Do you guys have anything like that keeps your team, like something you do that you could share?
I'm going to reach out to Dan after this call and see what he's doing. I want to learn more about what he's doing with his promotions, because it sounds like it's working. But
yeah,
we do. We have a few things, but to be honest with you, I think it might be time to maybe kind of take a step back and look at what we're doing. But more importantly, I think with promotions, you need to reach out to your team and see what's important to them. Some people are motivated by a day off. Some people are rewarded by, extra money. Some people are rewarded by both, or just recognition within the office. So you need to do what's a good fit for your team, not just what you think, because what might be important to Dan and I might not be important to someone else. For example, I've got Sandy here in my office. She loves Colts promos. Anytime we do a Colts promo, she's like the first one ready to go. I've got someone here in the office that would rather sit in the library and read a book versus going to a Colts game. So you have
Colts.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying quotes promos. So I was like,
Colts, like Indianapolis Colts, like the football team.
Yeah.
So you have to know, what everybody gets motivated by, I think is the best way to answer that.
But no, I get that. I figured out how to work promos in my agency. I'm just wondering, is there any one that you just tried and true, you just always have that one going? Because I have the deck of cards going all the time. I just change it up sometimes and say, you can only draw if you sold a life policy, or you can only draw if you set the appointment for the producer who sold a life policy, stuff like that. Because I start looking at it and think, okay, I'm not teaching these guys how to fish anymore. We need to figure this out, get your own, appointment set up, blah, 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 things like that. But the deck of cards, I mean, it's just consistent. We have promos. I was just wondering if there was a special one that seems to always keep everyone motivated. Do you have anything, Dan?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because it's kind of similar to that, but something like that it's great to have it fun. I didn't know if you do it. We do something at 5 o'clock every day where it's like a dice game. So depending on, certain renewals or getting 5-star reviews on Yelp or, different initiatives, we roll a dice, and depending on, I mean, I won't take the time to explain how it exactly works, but depending on how the dice rolls, you could win, $10 to $50. So small things
cool.
like that does make it fun, something for them to look forward to at the end of the day. But staff motivation, I would say getting the phones to ring is number one job. Our number two job is staff motivation. And if you don't have staff, then it's self-motivation, because I look at it like that's like my number one job. So like Zach said, there's so many ways to do it, and you never know. Well, you want to try to know, and once you have a staff for a while, you kind of do know what's important to them. But it's all of the above. Financial, making them feel part of a team, important member of a team, taking care of their family, recognition, awards, trophies. We like to do book reviews where we read motivational books together. I show them some YouTube videos, so, and then I'll also just, once a week, and then we'll have sales meetings once a month, but once a week, I'll just have meetings. And really the message here, right now is that, hey, this is a challenging time for us. It's going to be very difficult to be able to, with all the stress and all the negativity out there, to be able to come into work and produce every day. It's just, have empathy for them, because they're just not in our situation. They don't have so much in it as we do. So for them, it's just, I just really, by a mix of gratitude and just positive messages, I try to help them out by just believing in themselves and making a difference, because this is going to be a turning point for a lot of people in their lives. Some people are going to just be in tough situations financially, emotionally, physically after this. And, I'm really trying to just preach to them, really, almost like a preacher, that, hey, we could do this, we could get through this together, we're going to persist, and we're actually going to come out of this stronger, so motivating them sometimes, and I'll email them quotes, but just trying to be a positive influence to them is, I feel, one of my duties as, their employer.
The dice thing sounds cool. Let me ask you guys, do either of you have a protege?
Yeah, I actually have my first protege, and I think it's an awesome program. I wish I would have done it when it first came out, but we were having a tough time finding someone that was not only PNC licensed, but life licensed. But I think the protege program is phenomenal. I wish when I started out as an agent, I had the opportunity to go work.
Could have been one, huh?
As I said, I could write a book on all the things that didn't work and all the things not to do as an agent. I think you probably would have gotten through that a lot faster by, having somebody underneath your wing. But yeah, my new protege is doing a phenomenal job, and it's a great way to put some money into his pocket and find a really good qualified candidate when you have that bonus on the back end too.
And you, Dan, have you done one yet?
Not yet. The opportunity to find the right candidate hasn't come, but we'll see. But as of right now, no.
I haven't paid attention much to the questions, and I think we have quite a few. Can you guys, I see there's like over 90.
Oh my goodness.
Can you guys, so what I'm going to do, because we're coming right up on the end, is there anything else that I missed? Because you're giving me an idea, and I'm going to go through your process on Zach, on your EverQuote leads. for sure, and I'll post that up tonight because I have that. Can you think of anything else that our agents would want to hear that is a good takeaway, that if you're going to, you know, pick one thing, focus on this?
Yeah, I think with the EverQuote promo, or the EverQuote procedure process that we're using, I think you got to remember that that's not just for EverQuote. That's something that you can implement in every quote that you do, whether that's a business quote, whether it's a life quote, any sort of lead that you get, you can implement that system. But I think agents, and I know myself, especially like right now, I mean, we're all overwhelmed, and as Dan said, we're all worried and scared about what's going on, and our staff is too, and I think everybody can feel that. But being a leader, keeping things simple and focusing on the things that you can control, that's really got to be crucial anytime you're an agency owner, but especially right now, because there's a lot of variables that you just don't know of what's going to happen tomorrow. But you got to focus on those things that you can control, and just not trying to overcomplicate the process. You have to be basic, and you have to have goals, and, you know, hold yourself accountable.
Oh yeah,
Dan?
that's really well said, Zach. That's absolutely right. You know, we can only control what we can. And I think also when it's, you know, challenging times like this for a lot of agents that's listening right now, is also what's helping me, or what I tell my staff, is to just, you know, have gratitude. You know, we're a business that we're able to operate, you know, and we're still able to earn income. We have a great company behind us. So by having gratitude and finding, you know, things to be excited about, this double down promotion, I mean, not only did Farmers did something for, you know, our clients, but doing something for our agents during this time. They don't have to do this, you know, but and especially just lucky for me, it happens to be a personalized promotion.
Yes.
You know, which doesn't happen that often. I think it's a great time to just, you know, be on the offense. You know, people, there's going to be disruption. So if you're not writing new policies, then we're just going to be losing our PRF count. And I'm almost surprised at the numbers of, you know, what it takes to get up to 100% new business commission. I mean, that and then the PGB combined together, I mean, there hasn't been a better time than now to write personalized policies. So me and Zach, I know Zach, you're happy.
Yeah, it's a heck of an opportunity.
It's just something that it'd be a shame if you didn't take advantage. If you already have systems in place, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, because this thing happens on Saturday. If you already have systems in place, just do that with a more effort and more money behind it. But you know, think about which way the world's going, and I would say it's just more digital, more over the phone, more internet, more social media, and you know, leverage those tools that we have.
Yeah, I think this is our first time doing anything like this in our Facebook group, and you don't know how thankful I am that you guys were willing to come out and share. That's awesome. That's one thing I love about being a farmer's agent, is because so many are forthcoming and share. I mean, I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for my mentor way back when I reached out to him, Al Candos. You guys have heard me talk about him for years. But it's because of everyone's willingness to share and how they're winning and what's working, why we continue to be successful. So I know I can lean on you guys. I love you. Thank you so much for giving your time and all your information. I mean, it's just a lot of good stuff that, you know, not being able to go to achievement clubs and getting to talk one-on-one, we don't get to have, you know, drinks together and share our best ideas. So this means a lot to me, as a lot of other agents. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
No, thank you, Christian, for having us.
And bye, Facebook family.
All right, you guys.
Be safe.
All right, Zach,
Yes.
I'll catch you on IG.
Yeah, for sure,
Okay.
Dan. See you,
All
man.
right. See ya.
All right.
Bye.
See
you guys.
And I'll reach out to you too in a little bit.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Christian.
you.
Alrighty. Bye. All right. Thanks again for watching, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this YouTube channel here. I'm going to try to come up with more content this year. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great 3 months here. Stay strong, be on the offense, be optimistic, be careful too. all the above. But hope you guys are ready to kill it these next 3 months. Until next time, see you guys.